This is a story of privilege, power, and perception. The woman who falsely accused Duke Lacrosse players of rape released from prison after a murder conviction.
20 years ago, a woman who accused 3 Duke University lacrosse players of rape
has been released from prison. Crystal Mangum.
I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't.
In the court of public opinion, a single word can create a predator.
I'm absolutely innocent of all the charges that have been brought against me.
I don't think they want a lie detector test because they're afraid they won't pass a lie detector test.
And I may be the last person willing to take the heat because the victim is certainly taking a beating, as is Mike Nifong, and it's really unconscionably unfair.
Before a piece of evidence is tested, before a single cross-examination begins, the media and social media often writes the ending.
Nearly 20 years later, Crystal Mangum says she was lying the whole time.
This documentary takes us back to 2006, when one woman's words fractured the nation's sense of justice.
This was a case that served differing agendas of differing groups. For Nifong, he wanted guilt because it would help his cause in the primary.
And exposed the terrifying speed at which we consume truth and lies.
I want them to know that I love them and they didn't deserve that. And I hope they can forgive me.
We believe these 3 individuals are innocent.
This is the story of Crystal Mangum and the real human wreckage left behind when society stops asking for proof and starts seeking its next monster execution. A bombshell allegation out of Durham, North Carolina. 3 members of the elite Duke Lacrosse team stand accused of sexually assaulting an exotic dancer hired for a team party. Crystal Mangum was that dancer. She was an African-American woman from a lower socioeconomic background.
In March of 2006, Mangum made national news when she falsely accused 3 Duke Lacrosse players of raping her. So that's Reed Seigelman, Colin Finnerty, and David Evans.
The men she accused, David Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Reed Seligman, were white, wealthy, and attended one of the country's most prestigious institutions. The narrative practically wrote itself.
Everyone will always remember that we told the truth. And in the words of Abraham Lincoln, truth is the best vindication against slander.
It was the perfect storm of racial tension, class war, and our primal desire to protect the vulnerable. The narrative was simple: power abusing the powerless. The headlines were savage. The players were tried and convicted in the headlines before their families could even hire lawyers. The Duke 88 faculty members signed a full-page newspaper letter condemning a culture of sexual violence. Society made a choice that night. We decided that Crystal Mangum was a symbol and the lacrosse players were a verdict. But we forgot the most critical question. Is it true? For 1 year, the lives of these 3 young men were systematically dismantled. Their dreams were shattered, their futures a legal minefield. The world believed Crystal Mangum. North Carolina Attorney General Roy Cooper said, "Today our review has concluded that there is no credible evidence that an attack occurred in that house that night. The accuser has repeatedly changed her story. These 3 men are innocent." The truth was staggering. There was no physical evidence. There were no consistent witness testimonies.
I believe that these cases were the result of a tragic rush to accuse and a failure to verify serious allegations. Based on the significant inconsistencies between the evidence,
the lead prosecutor, Mike Nifong, was later disbarred and jailed for his unethical handling of the case. The system, once weaponized by public outcry, finally did its job. But the damage was done. The headlines were small corrections, not the screams they had been. In Mark Jeffrey's interview, he said, "We are conditioned to automatically view men as predators. It's a societal default setting. When a woman stands up and makes an accusation, there is a powerful impulse to rush to her side, to elevate her, sometimes without question. But we cannot overlook the fact that women as human beings are capable of manipulation, of causing absolute destruction of the innocent for their own personal or social gain. Some do abuse this power. Crystal Mangum did precisely that. When will we as a society stop putting a sex on predators and realize that any human being can be one? The only fair approach is to treat all scenarios with the same standard of evidence. Otherwise, we are just empowering a different kind of predator, the one who uses our own empathy as their weapon. You would think after exposing such a dangerous act, a person would retreat. But for Crystal Mangum, this was just the beginning of a truly lethal reality, and who knows what else she's done before the Duke Lacrosse accusations, the pattern, was set. More legal trouble tonight for Crystal Mangum. She is facing an attempted murder charge involving a separate incident with a different boyfriend, Milton Walker. The charges were later dropped, but it showed a continuing escalation of violence and legal conflict. The red flags were not just waving, they were on fire. Then came 2011 and a final tragic outcome that no narrative could repair.
First of all, what was your reaction when the Attorney General cleared your son?
We screamed. We all screamed at the top of our lungs. We were all together. The families were in one room watching it on TV like everybody else.
Mangum was charged in the stabbing death of her boyfriend, Reginald Day. She claimed self-defense. This time, the standard of evidence was met. In 2013, she was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 14 to 18 years in a North Carolina prison. Even with her history, somehow the court still showed leniency in ways most men would never see. Over the years, the conversation about the Duke Lacrosse case has become a permanent feature of discussions on race, class, and the flaws in our justice system. The players recovered, built lives, but that shadow remained. They were always the men falsely accused by the media. The debate about Crystal Mangum's intentions always lingered. Until now. She confessed,
I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't, and that was wrong.
In 2024, 18 years after she first stood on that stage of national outrage, Crystal Mangum admitted she had fabricated the allegations.
And I want them to know that I love them, and they didn't deserve that. And I hope they can forgive me.
18 years, a career of false predation, of weaponized empathy, culminating in a real murder, all based on a lie she finally, casually discarded.
Mangum is currently behind bars after she was convicted of stabbing her boyfriend in 2013. In a recently released interview, she says she falsely accused the lacrosse players in hopes for their forgiveness.
On Friday, March 2nd, 2026, Crystal Mangum was released from a North Carolina prison. She had completed her sentence for the actual murder of Reginald Day. But the true crime she will be remembered for is the one she didn't commit, the false conviction of 3 men and the destruction of our public trust. In Mark Jeffrey's interview, he said, "We must prosecute people only when evidence is proven. Anything else is not justice. It is vengeance, and it is easily hijacked." The worst predators are not always the ones with muscles. They are the ones who can look us in the eye, make us believe, and cause the destruction of the innocent to fuel their own ends. Crystal Mangum was many things. She was a murderer, she was a liar, and perhaps most dangerously, she was exactly the kind of predator we, as a society, were desperate to believe didn't exist. She is free now. But for David Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Reed Seligman, the sentence public opinion handed down to them may never truly end, just like so many other falsely accused victims. But we continue to allow those who lie on them to go free without nearly a comparable consequence. Will this ever change? What are your thoughts? Stay tuned for more. Murder Motive and Mayhem. Subscribe for more.